Ka Internal Quality Assurance Cell IQAC Jonga Thomas Jones Synod College Chuai Hagakat Southrick Naiwing Kalapalong Yakajingakran Halor Kapang Rethinking the Changing Scenario of the Education Sector in Meghalaya. Yakanika program la plipat ba da ka AEC ka LBR Marak MCS ha ka jingalang la penya da ka RD Pariat Assistant Professor Jongkatanat Political Science kat ba ka Principal ka Dr. A Nombri kala ay ya ka jingkren Lincoln. Ha ka jingkren ka LBR Marak la ong ba ka jila kadang yakun banwanra ya ka jingkylla ka bandan ka jingkular jingkit kli kat ba ka punpau ru ya ka jingtuna ha ka jingtay kajing pentri kami ke polisi bat kiwai. Kini kimat ki kata bet ya ki jing ang nur bat kalawai jungi samla ki ba omla ban pen bet marwai hendri dan kam ka jinga trilang ber ka jingkit kli lang hapadeng kinong hikai kinong thau polisi kinong penyat ki samla puli bat kilat pathai khubor. Kalayaro ya Thomas Jones Synod College bat ka IQAC ki bala thau ya karunsan yakran ka badan jingmut bat kinturu iki samla puli bana shimbenta shirham namar ki dei ki nong ya shimbenta ki ban yo pateng ya kalawai jong ka Pule Puthi jong ka jila.
It is a privilege and an honor to join you today at this important panel discussion organized by the Internal Quality Assurance Cell at Thomas Jones Synod College in collaboration with Forefront Media. I commend the organizers for choosing a theme that is not only timely but deeply significant, rethinking the changing scenario and sustainability of the education sector in Meghalaya. Education in Meghalaya stands at a decisive crossroads with implementation of NAP 2020, the Meghalaya Education Grant and various reforms. We are witnessing a period of transformation, one that carries great promise but also great responsibility. These changes invite us to reflect on where we are and where we aspire to be. The reality is clear. Our state continues to grapple with challenges. Gaps in infrastructure, concerns over accessibility, uneven learning outcomes, and difficulties in policy implementation. These issues do not merely represent administrative shortcomings, they affect the dreams, aspirations, and futures of our young people. What makes today's event so important is the recognition that we cannot address these challenges in isolation. Progress in education requires shared understanding, shared responsibility, and shared action. The presence of academicians, policymakers, administrators, media representatives, and students in this forum is a testament to the collective will needed to drive meaningful change. The National Education Policy 2020 gives us a visionary framework, one that encourages holistic learning, critical thinking, flexibility, and inclusivity. But policies alone cannot transform the system. Implementation makes the real difference, and implementation is strongest when it involves dialogue, collaboration, and accountability. Distinguished panelists present today, experts from academia, administration, and the public sphere will provide deep insights and practical recommendations. The conversation held here today can contribute significantly to shaping a stronger, more resilient educational framework for our state. Before I conclude, I would like to acknowledge Thomas Jones Synod College and its IQAC for taking this commendable initiative. Creating a space for meaningful dialogue is itself an act of leadership. I encourage the students here to actively listen, engage, question, and reflect, because you are the stakeholder who will ultimately inherit and shape the future of Meghalaya's education system. Let us move forward with a shared commitment to build an education system that is modern yet rooted, ambitious yet equitable, and resilient enough to serve generations to come.
With humility, a mixture of all sides. But I'm confident enough with the hard work and the teamwork, especially from our esteemed colleagues, right from the teaching staff to the non-teaching staff, to make this gathering a success. I wish the panelists, the moderator, with all their insights, valuable thoughts, and wisdom from the rote learning model, from the rigid learning to a holistic education. Yes, it is indeed a challenging period compared with our state, but I take this opportunity to the August gathering to please feel free, participate, and put your thoughts and ideas also for clarification. I wish the program success.
Will take you further.
Saungot kinong keren kila ai ke jingmut jongki halor ki benta bapheru pher jong ko Pule Puthi ha Meghalaya ki bakanthob ya Dr. Benjamin F. Lindo, Associate Professor Nehu, Bantelang J. Kharshandi, MCS Director, Directorate of School Education and Literacy, DSEL, who Richard B. Uria, Principal Kanot Liberty High Secondary School, but Avna Medan Paryat, columnist.
Education has to be holistic, and like you said, Ivan, very true. It has to start right from a very early age. We have, a system right now where you read, you remember in the morning or later in the afternoon, you go and write your exams. On the basis of that, you get marks, and then we decide whether the student is good or bad, and that determines many things in our career. I think we need to change from that. We need to encourage holistic education, and education where we encourage critical thinking, scientific temper, like what Avna said a while back. Teach them to be creative. Teach them the skills of communication, entrepreneurship, right from a very young age. We sometimes as parents, we like, and again as teachers, we like to say no, 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 no all the time. But actually we also have to question ourselves. I have to question myself. I have to stop saying no to my students all the time, because half the time now students have better ideas than you do. You are outdated. They are well informed than you. These days they come to the classroom. About schools I will not be able to say much, but I can talk about my classroom in the university. They come to the classroom half prepared already. These days they are using this app called Perplexity, which I'm sure some of you are using right now. So I was asking this boy the other day, how is this app better than the others? He says this app makes even the most difficult topics and formulas and everything. It explains to you in a very simple, in a very easy way. And so I tried that app as well, because I'm a teacher. How can I teach them without knowing what they are doing? So one night I sat and I tried the same app myself. It's free, by the way. And the good thing that I found in that particular app is that it gives you references. It will give you a particular statement. It will give you references. If you want to check the authenticity, the accuracy of that particular statement, you can go to the original document and read it for yourself. Now they come to the classroom like that, right? So, as teachers now, maybe at school level, principals can say later, maybe you can tell students not to do that. But in college and university level, to be very frank and blunt with you, we cannot ask the student to not use AI, not use bots, not use apps like this. This is the time, this is the age, it is going to happen whether you like it or not. The only thing that we have to ensure is that you read first, inculcate this habit of reading, and then use these bots and chat bots and AI and all apps as a supplement. It should not be the other way around. If it becomes the other way around, it becomes dangerous. Because these AI, platforms that we have right now, it depends upon how much they have been trained. How much they have been trained means on the basis of how much of data they will give you answers. Right? Some chat boxes are trained on very small data set. You ask them something, they will scroll only from that and they will give you an answer. So hence sometimes we say the answer is wrong, because it doesn't have a wide scope to it. It's not trained in a wide scope of data set. But if you use these AI applications, which are paid, they are not free, okay, premium and all. If you pay means the data on which they are trained is immense. Okay, so when you ask them any question, they have this, you can say almost 100% of the database in the world through which they can scroll and give you an answer. That's why I tell my students all the time, I don't know whether you have money or not, But if you are going to use AI bots and all that, please make use of the paid version. At least the degree of error and blunders and mistakes in those answers will come down by a long, long way. You use the free one, okay, half the time there's a very good chance you get a wrong answer. And about not going to library, I look at the library in our university also, right? I was asking some of my friends working in the library the other day. By the way, even me, I have not gone to the library for a very long time. Okay, so I'm also a culprit here. You know, it has to start with me. So I was asking my friend who works in the library, then he said, not like in the past. Okay, we have to sit here till 6, 7, sometimes 8 o'clock because they are still there, especially before exams, then they are there, right? But now hardly anyone comes. Then I said, why should they come over the library also? When they have everything in their iPads and in their mobile phones, why should they come? We have e-libraries now, we have e-books now, right? So, and I was talking to my other friend who was teaching in St. Edmunds, okay? And he was complaining to me and saying like, you know, you cannot in your classroom they have the banja la hamuna in one class. But actually it's not that. Reason being they have all the contents in their hands. Right? Unless and until if we as teachers, all of us one way or the other we are teachers, unless and until we as teachers we can develop a new style of teaching. Okay, a new pedagogy of teaching, which is not readily available. They will not come to your classroom. So I told my friend, if they are not coming, it's because there's something wrong with teaching which is happening. Okay, we have to upgrade ourselves, we have to change our style of teaching. Otherwise, now college at this age, and I get everything in my mobile phone, and the teacher is going to deliver the same thing. Why should I go to the classroom? Right? I'll go and do something else. Huh? That is the only thing you have. Imagine if you don't have attendance also. Right? The education has been holistic, right, from a very young age. We have to embrace the technology which is there, leverage on it, but we should not be slaves to technology. We should be masters of our own and just use technology as a supplement. The danger now for Colomba, and I can see it in the university, is the other way around. They are going there first and then they are reading. I tell them all the time, you read first and then you go there. Without reading, do not go there. Right? So this is our role as teachers now. There are certain things that we as teachers we cannot change. Technology is happening, it is going to happen, it will continue to happen. But we also have to upgrade ourselves. And that is how we can make it full.
I can understand, and even I think the students can also relate to what you're saying. Of course, there are these different apps, like you said, that there is ChatGPT, Gemini. But I think so.
ChatGPT is old now.
I think so. But
you are still in ChatGPT.
No, but I think these apps, they do have, I think, footnote, they do say like, you know, most of the information is not factual, so you have to cross-check. So it's just advice to the students, if you take any information from any of these apps, you just have to, you have to cross-check. Because most of the time, from experience, I do use sometimes ChatGPT for if I have to get a brief history about any particular issue I'm working on. Sometimes when I cross-check with newspapers, articles, they turn out to be wrong. So that's what I'm just saying, you just have to cross-check.
Yeah. Can I just share one small joke?
Yes, sir. Yes.
In 1 minute, just
Yes.
small joke. So we had this, it was a farewell. It was a farewell, we have this farewell system. So it was a farewell, and then this girl, I will not tell her name, she's from jingiatai herself. I don't know what the program is. So she's from here. Then she had to give a welcome speech. She had to give a welcome speech, so she came up and she gave a welcome speech. In my entire life as a teacher and also as a student, I have not heard such a beautiful welcome speech. It was like amazing, it was out of this world. In my entire life, I've never heard such a beautiful welcome speech. After everything was done and we were having tea, and I asked her to come here. I said, wow, I mean, you really have the skills. You should not be in tourism and hospitality. You should be in literature. You really have the skills. It's such a wonderful welcome speech. How did you write? Whom did you talk to? Which book did you read? ChatGPT.
I think
And when I started, no, you should have some original content, and she went like, no, some content was there for me also. This is happening right now. We are writing letters, emails using, we are preparing slides using AI.
And opportunities also.
Yes.
Opportunities, because why you know that this is an AI generated copy is because all of them have the same content. All opportunities are the same. So yeah, moving on to our action B. So we talked a lot about like Anna mentioned, like Benjamin mentioned about the different gaps that are there in the education department. And I also understand that we have a state high secondary council, which the government plans to revive right now to advise the government. How is that going? And there's also the state level quality assurance council, which the government said will be reactivated to monitor the standards from pre-primary to university level. How is that going?
I'll not be able to comment much because these are being dealt with by a different directorate. So, I mean, this is in fact beyond the aspect of what I'm looking after. But of course, just to supplement what Dr. Benjamin had just stated. So, see, education, as we understand now, it's going through a rapid change, and basically, the main factor is obviously technology. So, like the examples which he had given, I also agree to what he had said. See, technology has played a major role, no doubt. All right, and even in the education department, also, technology is very much a factor when it comes to reforms. But at the same time, we understand that technology has to be used in a very proper way, because the best example which Dr. Benjamin had given is that students nowadays they resort too much to applications such as ChatGPT and other applications which are based on AI. So students, in fact, when I visited one school in Tura, I remember it was Tura Public School. So I went there and I asked the students, how many of you are actually using AI? And half the class they raised their hands. So which means that students even in school also are using artificial intelligence. But the big difference is that students nowadays, we really don't understand whether they actually read, whether they actually are into the habit of reading and understanding concepts before they resort to AI or not. That is a very, very big question. Because like you also mentioned, many of these apps may be wrong, right? The information given may be wrong. And I remember I attended one meeting in the Supreme Court of India just 2 weeks back. So there we had these experts from the National Judicial Academy. So basically they're cyber experts. So they told us, they informed us that when it comes to technology related to artificial intelligence, we as citizens, it's not just students, but as citizens we have to be very, very careful, because these applications which people are using, people are not very sure of whether these applications are genuine or not, whether the information that is available on these sites, on these applications are genuine or not. And because the world is changing very fast. In fact, they were telling us that right now we are in the era of artificial intelligence. In another 2 years, we'll be moving to another area which is called super intelligence. So you can imagine in the next 2 years things will change very, very rapidly. So if students do not get into this habit of reading, and when we talk about reading, it does not basically means reading from books, all right? You can go with ebooks also. I always encourage students that you can go with ebooks because computers are there, laptops are there, your mobile phone is there, you can read, but the only thing is that the content which you are reading has to be certified. It has to be vetted, and it has to come through these publishers who are vetted. That means publishers who are whose information, whose knowledge they provide will add value to what the students are reading. But the students do not actually do this. Many of the students now, they resort too much to technology, and whatever is available out there, they use it for their day-to-day needs. And at the end of the day, I'll tell you, it becomes half-baked information or half-baked knowledge. So that is the threat that we are facing today. And through this panel discussion, in fact, we should urge upon the entire student community to make sure that they do not repeat this mistake.
Good question. Caught me by surprise. Well, if there's something good that I need to, or would love to bring to schools in India, is reading. We're just talking about reading. In fact, we developed our library at our school after I came from here. The value of reading. Why I say that is because, as Dr. Benjamin Bhante has mentioned, children use a lot of AI nowadays, as it was mentioned. Reading doesn't mean you just read a book, as Professor Bhante said. There are also e-books. Back then they were using the Kindle. I don't know how many people still use it or not. But you can have so many books in your digital device to read. But reading is a good habit that needs to be encouraged in schools. I know that one of the criteria for granting recognition to a school is a school should have a library. So I think this needs to be reinforced and needs to be dealt with to make sure that the school has a library. And in the curriculum, it must be stressed. Make sure that the schools have at least two periods or 2 days where students who are actually visit the library. I remember when I was a student, I took pride in buying a new book and putting it on the table the next morning for my friends to see how many pages I've highlighted. That was the pride I took as an engineering student when I was doing engineering. If I bought a fiction, I would like that my friends the next day would see that the pages are used. They'll know that it's not a fresh book. That I have read, that I have fallen asleep on top of the book, but I have read a fiction last night. Because there's no supplement to reading. It helps you comprehend. It helps you to remember names. Sometimes you have to go back a few pages. What was the name of that character? Because reading is very important. So if there's something I would love to bring back to India, in the schools of Meghalaya, is reading. So Sir Bhante is here, maybe Sir can take note of that. And Sir can promote reading. You can use me as a brand ambassador.
I don't agree that it may be nice to talk about the Finnish model, but that's as a system. That's everyone together. That's MBOs should do that together, and government should prioritize it. Problem has always been in Meghalaya, and I've said this so many times, too many private players, right? Any country or any state that does well, like Kerala, for example, Tamil Nadu, these are actually where we should be looking at. They have been doing such good work over the last 20-30 years, and it is because they don't have this, there's almost no private schools there. Meghalaya is a different situation now because of maybe 100 years of private school education by missionaries and all that. That unfortunately is a historical accident. But I think the government really needs to put its money now into building up its own schools, improving them. There's a series which is being done right now about the state of schools in Garbage, which a friend of mine does for a long time. And you can actually see the ground realities, right? It's something that I feel like if we want to implement a Swedish model or Finnish model, whatever, it's fine. But it has to be the government that takes the lead. Individuals cannot do it. Private players cannot do it, okay? Unless they bring in like hundreds of crores into some, systemic changes, which is not going to happen. I've never believed that, even though I studied in a private school myself, but I have never believed that this should be the norm. I've always been lobbying for more Pynlong schools or public schools, government girls, government boys. You had a very famous government school here as well. This has produced so many leaders in the old days. So many old leaders were never in private schools. Those were not allowed. Tribals were not allowed into those private schools. Mostly it was the public schools that did the heavy lifting. We've forgotten that actually. And I feel personally that all these suggestions that came up earlier, private schools have a very good management, right? They are very good. Like if we talk about reading, I remember almost every day we had a reading period in Edmonds. We had a reading period which was, usually it was also moral science class, I think. Moral science meaning like just pick up a book and start reading. Okay, we were all told to sit down and read. And then we had a dedicated library class, right? A period. I think it was twice or thrice a week. Okay, so imagine even the most dull student also is encouraged, to be part of this reading culture. And that's a simple intervention. Government can do that in all its schools. It's a very, very simple intervention. It's not just about having a library. You should also get people to sit down and start reading and discussing and writing, because see, what is the point of just reading if you don't also see your thoughts in paper, right? That allows you to frame an argument. You can go back to it, you can look at it again, and you say like, oh God, this was wrong, right? And you can correct it again. That is very important. Reading and writing together is very, very important. And if we want to any systemic changes, it has to involve the government. If you look at the number of higher secondary schools that the government runs, education department, it's 42. That is at the higher secondary level, and at the at the secondary level it's just 85. The rest is dominated by private players, right? And I think that right now, I think we're missing the woods for the trees. We, with all due respect, like I'm not an educator, but I think very deeply about this subject because I can see that if we don't correct it now, we'll have a lot of problems. We'll have a lot of problems. Right now also, we can see like there's so much anxiety among the youth. They feel they're owed something because of what we have trained them to expect over the last 10, 12 years of their lives in school and till 11, 12. I'm disturbed by that. And for me, it's a serious social concern. And we need to fix this thing immediately. Again, I stress on that. I'm not going to paint a pretty picture because it's not a pretty picture actually. If you can't have okay, I just want to divert a bit. Like, why do people think that smart people should pass an exam or that they should be an IAS officer, like what you said just now? I just don't get it. Like, I just don't understand. Because for me, if we have really created smart people, it will show in the society. You will not just go to one guy or one woman. There will be many smart people in your shnong, your dong, your locality, and you will be able to have very smart, intelligent conversations with those people. That is a sign to me of an intelligent society. But there, at some point in time, we in India think that passing an exam means that you're smart. Right? Like, it's not necessarily true. I mean, I was a topper. I was always in the top 10. And I saw guys who were lower than me becoming officers and so on and so forth. So that it's not true. It's definitely not true. But that doesn't mean that, and the good thing is that it shows also, it's a good thing, it shows that even guys who are not in the top 10 can still do something in life. They can become this, they can become that. That's a great thing. I'm very happy for them. But at the same time, I also know for a fact that, passing a very difficult exam is not the sign of intelligence. What is the sign of it shows when you have a conversation with people. I've had so many conversations with people all over Meghalaya. And then when you actually sit down with them, even if the accent is wrong, they don't speak Polish, Edmondian English, they have intelligence. You can sit with them, you can speak to them Kannada, you can speak to them Khasi. Then you're like, wow, okay, this person is very interesting, right? There are many people like that. So as a society also, we should encourage people like that. We should not think that, okay, they are from this background, because it's a class paradigm here also, right? So anyway, I'm going on about many other things, but basically I think government really needs to think only about its own and help its own more. That is my final say.